Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to the stream. What's up, Pyro? Glad you could actually join. Must be late or early in the morning for you. All right. So, last stream, what did we work on? Yes, we worked on resolving call stack addresses with function names. It's 2 a.m. All right, not too bad, right? So let me show you where we're at right now. So if I go to here. So again, this is a C++ program. It is actually a game, Pong, for the Vectrex. We'll do that later. And basically what I'm working on is implementing a debugger to debug these Vectrex compiled C++ programs. So you're a bit behind. So you know what I'm working on. But yeah, so basically what I've got working now is if I hit F5 in here, it should launch Vectrexy like this. It's parsing RST files. I don't remember if I left the wait for attach. I might have. Let me see. I did not. So yes, looks neat. Thanks, man. Okay, so what is happening now? Let's see. Okay, main thread. Oh yeah, definitely working from home. Work totally sent us home last week, actually. It's like it's been more than a week. Oh, no, it hasn't been more than a week, sorry. So it's since last Thursday. How about you? I guess you're working from home as well? Yeah, it's pretty crazy times, right? I can't believe I just still can't believe that this is where we're at right now. Oh, I know why this isn't working. I had disabled some of this code because a couple days ago I worked a little bit on trying to speed up the debug build, trying to understand why debug is so incredibly slow. And I made some progress, but I disabled some stuff, so that's why this isn't working yet. Oh, you switched to IT, okay. Or I would still be needed as a technician in the plant, right? So now you're able to work from home, basically, right? Oh, now I gotta kill this. All right, so let's try this again. There we go. So here we are, we're at main. So the thing to notice, what's new since last stream there, what we worked on, is the fact that here you can see it says main, right? Line 39. And let's say we step in, actually, let's not press F10 yet. That's what I'm gonna work on. Mostly doing database, SQL, and other stuff now. Nice, that's great. So F11 here, and you can see now it says foo, line 35. I step in. We're now in Vectrexy printf. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to bias init here, set beam intensity. So yeah, you could totally see the call stack here, right? So that's pretty cool. I'm very happy with that. Oh yeah, by the way, so there was something wrong with my Docker image last time. I think I had accidentally undone a change or something. But anyway, I fixed it. I've since pushed a new Docker image that does the thing of resolving the names correctly in the RST files. So yeah, if anyone wants to develop Vectrex games using my Docker image, this will actually work for you. All right. What I'd like to do now, if I go look at my to-do list, originally I was going to do step over, step out, and then breakpoint, but I was thinking about how these two features will actually, I believe, depend on breakpoint. So I'm going to work on just regular breakpoints. What I mean is, being able to set breakpoints in code. If I put an F9 here, and when we start and I hit F5, I want it to stop right here at this breakpoint. So if we look at the DapDebugger here for breakpoints, so I already have some basic breakpoint stuff going because that's how we break on main. So this is totally something that we can do. So that's a good start. Excuse me. So another thing I wanted to say was that talking about Corona and everyone staying home. So actually, you might have noticed on previous streams that and I still have it. I have a bit of a cough, like a bit of a cold. You can imagine that this was something that got a few dirty looks from people when I was at work, or with the whole coronavirus scare. Not really at work, but around. It's actually something that started a long time ago. This kind of cold cough thing, and it just hasn't gone away. It's something that I had, I'd say, early February, and I finally, after all this time, I finally contacted a doctor, and the doctor said that I probably have bronchitis, and so he prescribed me some pills, and I'm actually taking these antibiotics now and doing better. So I still have a little bit of something in my throat, but it's a lot better than it was. So so I'm not I'm not dying anyway, right? Hopefully. Though it is a little scary, I have to say. I read somewhere, and gotta take all these things with a grain of salt, of course, but that when all of this will be over, which who knows when that will be, some 70% of us will have been infected. So that's I find that pretty crazy. Anyway, so okay, breakpoints. So this is the thing we gotta implement here. So the set breakpoints request instructs a debugger to clear and set a number of line breakpoints for a specific source file. Yeah, pretty crazy, right? Yeah, I'll have to clean up these comments at some point, but basically what we're going to do is we're going to put a breakpoint here, and I think there's more. Okay, set exception breakpoints. We're not going to worry about that now. Actually, I guess that's it. So this should be the only one that gets called, and I believe what happens is that when first attaches, it's going to get called with any existing breakpoints that are set, and while it's running, if you add another breakpoint, it'll get called again. So for instance, let's say I put two breakpoints, both in main CPP, line 91, line 97. So if we go back and put the wait for debugger attach here, build that. Yeah, what I can't understand is how people can't follow simple instructions like staying home. I know, man. I know. People are just not scared enough, despite, enough news to scare the crap out of people. I don't know. People are weird, right? They say it's mainly really young, like teenagers and stuff, and really old people, actually, the ones who are most at risk, who don't seem to be taking it seriously enough. It's kind of crazy. Yes, I know. I know, right? It's exactly the problem. People are like, oh, I'm okay. I'll be okay. And the thing is, even if you think you're going to be okay, apparently, if you catch it, even if you're young and you're healthy, it can do damage, and it can do, you know, lasting damage to your lungs. So, I don't know. People are really stupid. I mean, part of it, too, is I think, unfortunately, there's a lot of, you know, fake news, to use that term, around all of this. And I think so, you know, you've got people who, you know, just don't trust anything anymore, which I can kind of understand. But still. Okay, so I didn't seem to hit the breakpoint. Oh, okay, wait, hold on a second. Will not be hit, no execute. So this is what happened to me last time, which is why I had switched to debug. But why is my DapDebugger not allowing me to put breakpoints in here? It's got something to do with the fact that these are lambdas. Okay, so I think what we can do is try to make this lambda, like, maybe if I make it long enough. I don't know, let's just try something stupid like this. Because I remember something about Visual Studio and lambdas that are like really short end up getting inlined, and then you can't set breakpoints in them. Yeah, let's put the request in there so we can actually take a look at it. Yeah, I don't think we're in the clear either just because we are younger. Yeah, man, I know. We're definitely not. Let's see if we can get this to work. You know what? I'll just hit F5 here and I'll just see if the debugger remains. I mean, if the breakpoint remains here. Yep, looks like it. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so this stupid trick worked. Let's do that. Hit F5 here. Not here. Here. Hit F5 and attach. Okay, there we go. So here's our request. So let's take a look. See, I already see that there's 2 in there. Yeah, I'll bring this up here. So if we take a look at the request, we've got 2 breakpoints. So line 91 here. Oh, so I see it separates lines from... Okay, so lines are 91, 97, which seems to be repeated here. I'm not sure why. Source. So it gives the path to the source file, so that's great. The name here. Source modified. Set true. What does that mean? That's interesting. So what I'm looking for here is, how do I know which source file? Because there's 2 entries for val. Oh, this is private. Okay, I think that's why. Is it? Oh no, okay, sorry, this is just the expansion. So we've got breakpoints. Hold on a sec. Okay, so it goes through every breakpoint here, and it, okay, because this the debugger here doesn't really care about, oh, so you know what I think is going to happen is probably we're going to get 1 per file. Yeah, that's right. If I hit F5 here, all right, let's do that. Okay, I think I just understood. Basically, if I go put breakpoints somewhere else, let's say here, put one in joystick. And here, let's put another one. We'll put one in BIOS here. So we got 3 files, 2 breakpoints in main, right? Hit F5. Attach. Okay, so here's one request for main. Oh no, actually for BIOS, there it is. So this is one breakpoint for the file bios.cpp. Hit F5, there we go. Joystick has 1 as well, and main has 2. Okay, great. So that's fantastic. So let me think a bit about how we're going to do this. Call stack. Here we go. So let me remember, I'm going to have to change how I'm storing my source locations. Right now I'm, in terms of files, just because I need to be able to look up files. I was thinking about how, like, you know, right now I have these just strings. It's just nice and simple. It's the way you start things, right? But I have like strings everywhere. And, you know, for example, here you can see BIOS here. So these are addresses, and it maps to a certain line number here. You can see that there's actually a whole set of addresses that map to a bunch of, to the same line number, you know? So like here, BIOS CPP line 157, we go there. So this return here, it's doing a lot, right? It's gonna apply a mask on vector buttons, then it's gonna compare it not equal to 0, and then return that, right? All of that apparently takes quite a few instructions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 instructions, interestingly. Probably because it's in debug. So it's not optimized. So what I was thinking about was that, first of all, I don't want to duplicate all these sources, like all these strings. Secondly, what I need to do is, as I'm parsing my RST and adding symbols like this with the file and the line number, not symbols, sorry, adding the file and line number information, so the source location, I need to remember, I need to have like another mapping that says, for a given file and line number, what's the very first instruction that it maps to, right? So for example, for this one, source BIOS CPP line 157, it maps to this address. And the reason for that is exactly for breakpoints, so that when you set a breakpoint on a line number, so if it comes in and it says, okay, source BIOS 157, I need to say, okay, get me the first instruction, and I'm going to set a breakpoint on that instruction. So that's what I need to do to get this to work. The other thing I'm noticing is, see these paths that I'm getting? I have a hack right now that I'm going to have to fix to get all this working. Well, or I can keep hacking at it. So let's see here. It is the fact that I have Pong, this here. So here it says I wrote to do get the root path from the ROM file, right? So right now this is the root path. This is important because if we look at our other breakpoint here, here we go. So if we look again at the request, the source file that we got here, its path here, it has that root source in there, right? It has edata code active Vectrex Pong. I need to remove that from the path and keep only source main, and then translate it into Linux form so that I can do my lookup for that string. So there's that. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about source reference here. I guess I don't really need that in my case. Source reference, yeah. So we can go with the path. All right, so let's see. So let's get some of these things going. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to on ROM loaded. So here we actually get the path to the ROM. Yeah, what am I doing here? So collect RST files in the same folder as the ROM file. So actually, I am actually already getting the path here. We hit F5. Oh, right. Excuse me. Okay, so here's our path. Sorry, like went down the wrong pipe there. So I call this rstdir. So actually this is my root directory, right? If we look again, Pong, edata code, active Vectrex Pong. So that basically matches. I'm probably going to want to lower this just to to make sure, because I'm going to be doing string compares, string lookups. So I don't want case to be a problem, and Windows, case doesn't matter. So I might get, like you can see here, I got a little, lowercase e, and here I got a big E. So I'm going to have to worry about, things like that. So, all right. So I'll put here root path, or maybe ROM path. How about that? Or actually, what I'll do is I'll call this source root. Yeah, because what I'm thinking is that it is possible that the source code will be somewhere else if somebody uses this, and I might make it an option in the extension for VS Code to allow you to say my source root is here or something like that. So right now I'm assuming a lot about the layout of the folders and files within. I assume, for example, that when we build, we're using my tool chain, and that ends up putting the ROM file in the same root folder, so that as the source code. And so, eventually I'll probably change that. Okay. Let's kill this debugger here. All right, so now that I've got the root, I can go remove that thing. Oh, and I wanted to do a... Do I want to lower it here? The thing is that the path... Let me see. Guess I can't really do that here, right? Unless I make it a string, lower it, and put it back. I could do that. Let's make preferred again. So yeah, I could do like string. And of course, there's no toLower on strings. What was I going to look up? I want to look up std path. So I don't really want that. I don't want make preferred because I don't want backslashes. I want it to go all to forward slashes. Generic string. That's interesting. See, the forward slash character is used as a directory separator. Let me see. That's interesting. Generic string. So that looks like it returns what I want. Does this lowercase everything? All memory locations performed by A, the result encoding is always UTF-8. Allocated to construct a string with. Doesn't seem to do that. Yeah, why would it? Of course not. Oh yeah, this stood toLower, that's true. But this is just for characters, right? Yeah. It's too hard to do this in C++, right? You know it's bad when the top answer for how to toLower a string is to do a std transform on your string. Terrible. Oh, hey, Jono. How's it going? Okay, so I have a string util I could use. Oh, there we go. I actually had it. Should have just looked there first. So let's do this. Core string util. Okay, so let's take a look at what this gives us. So Pyro asked before if I'm stuck at home. How about you, Jono? Are you stuck at home? So the answer is I am, and so is Pyro here. Okay, that looks pretty good, right? We got E data code active Vectrex Pong with all forward slashes there, and all lowercase. Actually, is that a good idea? Now I'm thinking. Actually, I'm not going to lowercase it because actually on Linux this would not work. You know, we want to keep the case. And I think if you compare FS paths, file system paths on Windows, I think it does the right thing. Let's go check. You're also working from home. We are really fortunate that we can do that. Path equality and equivalence have different semantics. In the case of equality, only lexical representations are compared. Therefore, path of a path is never true. In the case of equivalence, as determined by equivalent, it is checked whether two paths resolve to the same file system object. Thus, equivalent of A and B will return true if the paths resolve to the same file. Okay. So that's exactly what I want for, you know, when we need to look up files and stuff. Actually, maybe I don't care about this. We have to think about this. Hold on. No, okay, yeah, I need to make sure I keep the root path directory, the casing, because, for instance, here, when we're doing this directory iterator, if the source root does not have the casing correctly on Linux, it won't work. So definitely I need to keep the casing there. I might have to lower, basically in places where I store it as a key. I think that's what we're going to do. Okay, so now we have it with the correct casing. You can see the capital data in there. All right, fair enough. Now, given that I have that, this root path here, yeah, I think we can just change it to source root. location file, make preferred string. So this is kind of important, I suppose, because we are sending back the file. Yeah, so it's really important that we get the casing correctly. Now the location file comes from get source location. So yeah, we definitely have to make sure we get the case right. I think it's going to be fine, actually. Okay. Lots of iteration. So that's my set breakpoints 3 times. And now here is my source path. So that looks good. And we send that back. So we go back here. Yeah, there we go. So this is working. Good, 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 good. See, because if the path wasn't right, this would not have worked here, but it totally resolves. And again, this is Windows, but you can see now that the casing is correct. This is really important for Linux if we ever get this working on Linux, which we should be able to. And Mac, but I don't have a Mac build. John O knows. He tried to help me make one. Though to that end, I do have a Clang build here, and I'm actually able to build it on Windows. And as long as I keep this Clang build healthy, it shouldn't be much work getting this ported to Mac. I just need a Mac. I actually have one from work, but I'm not really supposed to use it for stuff like this. So anyway, we'll get to it when we get to it. So now we have this. So let's go back to our breakpoints here. I don't really understand what this means. Default value. Oh, I see. Okay, okay. Basically, what this does is yeah, don't know why that was necessary. So basically, if it doesn't find anything, it'll return. Oh, I see. Okay. These two versions expect there to be a value. This one here, it's all right if there isn't a value. It'll return a default value. Okay. All right. Fair enough. The Mac VM is still running. Can't remember if we sorted out the connectivity glitches. Yeah, it's been so long now. I don't even remember. Were there connectivity glitches? I don't remember anymore. But yeah, at some point I'll get to that. Okay, so what we want is the source here, which is a DAP source. It has a path, which is a optional string. So let's go like this. If auto path equals source path, so that means that star path is our string, I think. And we're going to want to hey, what's up, ABDCW? All right, so we're going to get the path here. We're also going to want to get the line number for this guy, or for each. Oh yeah, that's it. So if we have a source path and we have an entry for the source path, then we can start in our debug symbols, then we can start iterating through the files and stuff like that. So it'll be like, look for this source file in debug symbols. And if so, iterate lines and add breakpoints. And in fact, what we want to do here is we want to do an fs Jono, yeah, the screen went blank and did odd things with resolution. I think I fixed the resolution issue, which fixed the blanking. Oh, yeah, that's right, the blanking. Anyway, test it again when you're ready, and hopefully this time we'll be okay. All right, man, thank you. I appreciate that. Now, if I have a path like this and a root path, I can't recall if I could do, can I do something like this? I don't think so. So what does that want to do? I want to take this full source path and I want the relative part from the source root. So let's see here. What will this do? Returns path relative to root path. Is that... Oh, I see. Right. I think I'm going to have to just go with, see if this works. We can convert these into strings. This is basically a substring operation. What we want to do is we want to find path in here. And let's see here, do I have something in my string util for this? I have remove and replace. Let me try this. All right, so let's see how this goes. here, attach here. Oh, okay, wait, hold on. Looks like I did not compile this properly. Oh, okay, still a problem. Oh, right. I'm hiding. I just do this because I want to be able to step over this line here, and without an extra line statement here, it's gonna, you know, step out of the if, and I'll lose scope and all that stuff. So just need some dummy statement. And local variable is not used. All right, so now it builds, so it should work this time. There we go. So on ROM loaded, there's our breakpoint thing. So source path. There is indeed a source path, and it looks like this. Okay, that looks good. It has a small e. It's got the data. And our source root also has a lowercase e. So let's see if this works. It does not work. Invalid string view position. What? Some kind of bug in my remove? Probably. Offset 67. That looks right. Let me, how come I can't get the, oh, I have no symbols because I guess it was compiled in debug release. Is that why? Okay, let's step into here. All right, so we've got this, and we've got this to remove from it. Oh, actually, I'm going to need to normalize this path. So what actually happens in here? Offset is 0, while index equals to find first of not equal to end pause. Why did it get index 0 for that? That should not have worked. The find first of should have returned end pause if it doesn't find it, right? When position is specified, a search only includes characters at or after position, ignoring any possible occurrences before. The position of the first character that matches. All right, Pyro, thanks for hanging out. Have a good night. If no matches are found, the function returns, yeah, there you go. So what's going on there? So it's somehow finding a string here that's got forward slashes in this one. Offset 33. Just look at it again. I kind of stepped too quickly. Oh, again, too fast. I'm going to do this differently. I put a breakpoint in the function. All right. Shouldn't be here. Of course, I can't debug this because I'm not in debug. So let's try this. If I do it here, I can debug it because I've disabled debugging. I've disabled optimizations on the CPP file, but I can't do that on header files. So yeah, it returns index 0. I don't understand why. If I do path off string, it returns this string here. I mean, it's almost acting as if it compares the forward slash and backslashes the same way, but that makes absolutely no sense. This is a string. I am thoroughly confused. I was just thinking how, this always happens where I'll have in mind this thing I'm going to do, and then I spend all my time stuck on stupid stuff. It's always what happens. I keep getting 0. I am unsure what's going on here. Find first of really should be returning npos, which is this massive value here. Wait, searches a string for the first character that matches any of the characters. Oh, this is not what I thought. Right? Right. This is not doing a full search. Notice it is not enough for one. Let me see if I understand this. Matches any of the characters specified in its arguments. One pause is specified. So this is looking for a specific character. Ah, geez. Notice that it is enough for one single character of the sequence to match. See straight. Okay. It's find that I need to use. Yeah, I just need to use find. All right. That makes more sense. There is probably something wrong with my remove though. I'll have to look into that at some point. But for now, we'll do this. Search a string for first occurrence of the sequence specified by its arguments. One position is specified. Yeah. Notice that unlike. Okay. Yeah. Position of the first character. If no, it'll do npos. So this should work. Okay, there we go. So now it's not finding it, which is perfect. So what we want here is we would like the path from the source path to be, what was that function I used before? Generic string, yeah. Actually, I want a path made from the generic string, isn't it? So not like a function to like just normalize the path to Unix. That's what's missing, like a to Unix or something. Files, so C++, path to Unix. path can be normalized by following this algorithm. The path is empty, stop, replace each directory separator with a single path preferred separator, replace each slash in the root name with path preferred separator, yes. Remove each dot and immediately followed, remove each non-dot, okay. So how does this happen? How do we normalize a path? I think what it does is it normalizes it normally. Okay. Determines how to interpret string representations of path names. So this format here, member types and constants. This is an enumerator. It's part of the constructor. Ah, there it is. Second parameter. Interesting. So then what we want to do here is create a path. Like this. We create it in the generic format. So that makes me wonder if I should be doing that above here. Although in this case I actually want a string, don't I? Let me see. Source root. Yeah, I shouldn't do it this way. But I want to remove the file name. Yeah, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to do the same thing. This should be faster, because here we're converting it to a string and then bringing it back into a path. So that's good. Do that here. Now, path is this, and then we do done. Then, okay, so then what we do is we say auto file path equals to eventually we'll get there. So this should remove the part we want. And I think that's it. I'll have to put this in some helper, I think. right, let's test this again. That is not what I thought. Index 0, so okay, wait, path, find, oh yeah, that's not actually what we want. We would like the opposite. We want to remove it. Well, I guess if we found it, then we can just, okay, yeah, so we'll do. And it actually should be 0. So if index is either than that, and I'm actually wondering if we should like warn or report or do something here about, like if somebody tries to set a breakpoint in a file that is not one of our files, this is when we'll fail this lookup. Is that true? Not necessarily. If it's not a file that's under the root, the source root, then yeah, this lookup will fail. We probably should be returning something like, I don't know if there's like something in the response that says information about the breakpoints. We'll probably want to like specify, hey, this is a breakpoint that's disabled. DAP breakpoint. See here, verified. If true, breakpoint could be set, but not necessarily at the desired location. So I think if we said verify it to false, maybe that says something. Or here we could set the message, right? So it says this is shown to the user and can be used to explain why a breakpoint could not be verified. So I could say something like, file is not under source root. You know what I mean? And then we push this back and we send the response. Something like that. Let's treat it like this as well. So index really should be 0. So in that case, what we want really is, and I guess I should store this. Oh, actually, it's not this one. It's this one here. Oh, actually, I do need it. Anyways, source root string dot size. I think it's that. All right, so let's see where we're at now. It's running Vectrexy. There we go. Source. Now, why is it backslash? Didn't I fix? Oh, yes, I need to. Hey, wait a minute. Didn't generic format? This constructor did not do what it was supposed to do. Should have. What the? Enumerator of the type path format, which specifies how path name format is to be interpreted. Oh, so it doesn't actually format it. It just says this is how to interpret its format. I see. That sucks. So there's make preferred, but there's no make generic. That's really what's missing. So I do need to do the little dance of generic string back into a path. Not that cool. But I suppose I don't really need it in this case here, because I can just do generic string here. Sorry, generic string. Like this. The source root should have been created as a generic string, so I'm gonna have to revert this change I made here. Go back to what I had before. So remove the file name, generic string. Building, succeeded, F5. Finally, source bios.cpp in the format we want it. That took way too long. All right, that's good, that's good. So in that case, yeah, we should totally add a breakpoint. No, here. We should set the verified here. Yeah. Just looking to see if there was a way to create a breakpoint and set verified directly, but there is not. Now, this is actually not yet what we want. What we need to do here is do the check. Yeah, look for source file and debug symbols, and then iterate over its lines and all that. So actually, right, it's 1 per line, exactly. Okay, so we're not quite there. So now what I need to do is check, do we know about the source file? So now we go to the debug symbols here. All right, for now I'm going to keep it a string. I will do the change later to like save some space like I was saying. But what we want is basically the source file. No, it's actually source location. That's right. Yeah. So that means we're going to have to make this something hashable in order to store it in here and comparable. So it would be something like this. And I say to address, it's more like to first address, you know? So something like this. And what we want to do is when we're adding, so we're going to actually assume that we're adding in order from top down. So the very first time we see a source location, we can add it. Yeah. So I already have these. I'm going to have to do a hash for this. If iter not equal to end in this map, we want to add and this is way too long a name. I'm just going to call it location to address. First time we add the source location, add its address. This assumes we add in order from first address for a given source location. What I could do, I suppose, is if it is, in the else branch, I could like assert that, the address that's being passed in is strictly larger or equal to this one. So this address itself is smaller than or equal to the input one. All right. Does this compile? I don't suppose this should compile because we don't have a hash exactly. So let's add a hash for this guy here. I know there's an example somewhere here. Here it is. Basically, you have to create a specialization of std hash for your type. And I think what all I'm going to do is do file plus line. And do an I to S or something, or to string. That's it. How does this work here? Return std hash std string. Oh, not like this. Oops. What is this? No suitable user-defined conversion from basic string to std hash DAP string. Unsure what's happening here. Let's see what the compiler tells us. Oh, here. Okay. Gosh, it's so hard to read these. Cannot convert from card traits to std hash std string. No constructor takes source type. Is this not a string? Oh, okay. I understand. I think I have to say, actually, I don't know. How does this work? Like this? Oh, I see. That's what I'm supposed to do. This returns a function, a functor, basically. It's a bit weird. Here we go, std hash. So these are all the specializations. Yeah, so hash, when you constructed a return, it's basically a functor, a hashing function, callable. I'll just leave it like this. Okay, great, so that builds. So now that we have this, we need a way to get back from a source location the address. Get address by source location. You know what? I've been doing pointers. For now, let's stick to pointers. Although, in this case, no. If we find it, we return iter second. Otherwise, we have not found it. Okay, cool. So now we go back to our DapDebugger. Debug symbols, get address by source location. And now I need to construct a source location. So I can just do this file path followed by, okay, now we got to iterate through the breakpoints and get the line numbers. Why iterate this way? We could totally, couldn't we do this? Oops. Okay, so we start iterating through the breakpoints, and we see if we're going to get an address. If we do, we can finally add this to our breakpoints. Add breakpoint type. We add an instruction breakpoint at this specific address, and we would like to add a verified okay, that's called a source breakpoint. I see. And in fact, this breakpoint here that we create in the response, do we need to do more than set verified? Is that enough? I suppose that looks like it's enough. I guess what I'm saying is, in the response, does it like match 1-to-1? So if they're like, you know, 3 breakpoints in a file, it expects to see 3 in the same order in the response, and it assumes that they match up. I suppose that must be the case. I guess I could go look here. There's also the clear all previous breakpoints, which is something I'm going to have to do, because it always resends all the breakpoints for that source. And if you remove one, it'll, I think it once again sends, let's say I have 3 breakpoints and I remove one, it'll send the message with 2 breakpoints. So I'm expected to clear and re-add. All right, that makes sense. Okay. Returned is information about each breakpoint created by this request. This includes the actual code location and whether the breakpoint could be verified. The breakpoints returned are in the same order as the elements of the breakpoints, or the deprecated lines array in the deprecated lines array, huh? In the argument. Okay, that's what that was. Okay, so the only thing I wonder about is it says this includes the actual code location. So, okay, I see, because we're verifying that we found it and we should be telling it it's at this location. Now, if I don't tell it that, does it infer that the one that it passed in must be valid? I would guess so. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say add unverified breakpoint. I'll actually pass in the response here. I think I'm gonna have to give it another name though. Or I can move this down. I remember there being some issues with compilers giving warnings about name hiding, but I think it's, yeah, I think it's when this is above and this name is here. Just weird, but it's true. It does that. So there we've added an unverified, and then over here we're going to add a verified breakpoint because we actually found one. Else and this time we will say source location not found, or what do we want to say? Maybe more specifically, location is not mapped. Oh, I don't know. What can I say here? To an address. No, we shouldn't say that. That's weird. something like that. Oh, and I don't want to return this here, do I? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I'm just thinking what I need to do here is I actually need to add multiple unverified breakpoint messages. If the file is not found, all the breakpoints in there will have the same message. File is not under source root. I need to add that 3 times, or basically the number of times as there are breakpoints. Yeah. Otherwise, we are looping through the breakpoints. Okay, cool. I think we can remove this. All right, so starting to shape up pretty nicely. There is a problem here. Oh, so I screwed up some. There we go. Still something missing here. So if source path if the thing does not return, if the thing doesn't have a source path, then what does that mean? That's weird too, right? So let's do something like this. no source file provided. I mean, I suppose eventually what this means is that you can add breakpoints on addresses directly or something like that. Not sure. But if I don't have a file, there's not much I can do with this, right? Okay. Let's see now what happens. Hit a 5. We attach. Okay, no, it did not build properly. I wasn't paying attention. Basically, because I've been using CMake and it builds using Ninja, I no longer get the nice error, like, you know, well, I get this error view. I guess I just don't use it, or it doesn't go to it automatically. I should use it. Okay, optional, I'm missing an optional include here. Build again. Okay, next failure. Conversion from const DAP integer to uint32 requires a narrowing conversion. Okay, now it builds. Let's try this. All right. So what are our breakpoints here? This is the one in bios.cpp. We find it, we get its file path, source/bios. So let's see. We did not find it in debug symbols, probably because there is something wrong with the fact that location to address is empty. That's weird. So let me just let it finish out here. I just want to see, So the debugger now should show breakpoints, and then it says source location not found in debug info. So you see there's like a tooltip there. I don't know if you can see that. So this is incorrect, of course, but it's working. So now we just need to figure out why we are not getting the map populated correctly. So add source location is getting called here in the RST parser. Nothing strange there, so let's debug this. So here's an add source location. We have an address, a source file. Let's go in. Missing debug symbols here. Yeah, it got inlined. Let me check something. Let me see if I am still... I did disable it for DapDebugger. Let me move this function at source location . And let me go back here. See, this is why I need to make debug builds faster, because it's not easy to debug release builds. You know, I can do this thing where I can disable optimizations on single files like I'm doing here. But it still, you know, like you saw, it still gives me issues with inlining of functions defined in headers. So maybe I could have slapped a no inline on there. That might have worked actually, now I think about it. I think I have something like that, right? Hello? Yeah. I guess I could have done that. No inline func. But yeah, basically a pain in the ass. Okay, we're getting close. Let's just see what's going on here. It's probably a stupid mistake. All right, source location, source base.h. Okay. What just happened there? Should insert it here into the map at low. Oh wait, why is my file empty? So that's weird. First of all, is that why it's not working? It's possible. All right. This does not make any sense. How am I getting this? So this would be a line 45 in base, right? In BIOS, I mean. Is it? Oh no. Actually, what file are we parsing? Oh, base. Yeah, it was base. So what looks like is happening here is that I am not storing source files yet. It doesn't make sense because here 468. Ah, there it is. Oh wait, did I? Oh. It's because I moved it. That's why. Right, because I'm taking the source here by value, and then I'm moving it into there, which made sense when that was the only thing I was doing here. Okay. That's when std move bites you in the ass, you see? So here std move moved this out, and I was left with a empty source location or undefined or whatever. Basically whatever move does to strings. So it moves the pointer if it's allocated. Gotta stop this guy. Okay, this should work now, hopefully. F5, Vectrexy. So now if we add the source location, So if the location was not found, so it's, oh sorry, it's the other way around. Yeah, apparently I cannot program. It is also getting late, so I'm getting a bit tired here. But I really want to see breakpoints work. Ah, there we go. So we now have, for this location, 468. And see, for the second one, we now skip it because this is 470. Perfect. There's no asserts in release, so actually this will never trip, which is why it's really important that I get a debug build that performs decently well. Also, so I hit asserts and I can debug it. All right, so let's go for gold now. Let's see what's going to happen here. Oh, looks like I guess I didn't have breakpoints in my breakpoint code. It's just weird. Oh, I had removed them. But looks like this would have worked. So if I hit F5 now, oh, did I even implement F5? I did. And look at that. We actually stopped here. This is where I placed a breakpoint and stop music. So if I hit F5 again, looks like we hit this one again a lot. Oh, I think there's something now where it does not resume properly. Okay, so one thing I didn't do is I didn't do the thing of like removing all the breakpoints and re-adding them. So that's definitely not going to work here. And the other thing is, I don't think I did continue, did I? Oh no, I did. Continue request. So that should have worked. So why? Let me try this again. I removed this breakpoint here to see if I hit the other ones. Oh, I don't. Oh, there we go. I just hit it. Took a long time. Oops. Okay, that was... What's the main thread doing? We are rendering. So we are considered paused. Probably because when we hit a breakpoint, we pause. Then we hit a 5. What I don't understand is why F11 doesn't work here. See, it says step into, so the F11 did do something, but it's not performing the actions we expect. Let me see here. I just had a thought that maybe what's happening is that as soon as we try to resume, it breaks on the same breakpoint that it was at. Like it doesn't run the next instruction without breaking first. I think that's what's happening. Yeah, that would make sense. I feel like I ran into this even with my other debugger. So you see here, I have 3 breakpoints. At address 303, at 3053, and 3104, and we are presently at 3053, exactly. See, if our PC is at 3053 and we have a breakpoint at 3053, like here, we're probably just not we're not passing it after we've hit the breakpoint. See, because while we are, our main loop here basically starts by checking for breakpoints, and you see it says, "Hey, look, we're at a breakpoint." So break into the debugger. So we're in this like infinite loop of breakpoints, basically, the same breakpoint over and over. I'm wondering if what I should do is check for breakpoints after we execute an instruction. Is there anything wrong with that? The only thing I can see that might be wrong with that is if we're at an instruction, we set a breakpoint there. No, I guess that's fine. I suppose the only thing you couldn't do in that case is put a breakpoint on the very first instruction if it never comes back. If you try to set a breakpoint on the very first instruction, since we will execute, the very first instruction's address, since we will execute that before checking for breakpoints, we won't break there. So that's just weird. Okay, just to see there, let's just try moving this. Okay. So we are, hit F5, and nothing happens. Oh, no, here we go. It just takes a long time. If I hit F5 again, there we go. So it was that. Now we're constantly in here, remove that breakpoint. Removing doesn't make a difference because I have not done the task of removing all breakpoints, but hey, it's pretty much there. So, okay, so the only thing really left to do is to remove the breakpoints. The only thing I worry about here is I add breakpoints for stuff that may not have come from these, from the debugger itself, right? Let me see here. I have one for the main symbol here. This will actually get removed if I unless I filter by the ones that are once, consider these special. I might need to have like 2 sets of breakpoints, you know, kind of like internal breakpoints for my debugger, which might be necessary for what I need to do for even for things like step over and step out and all that. Versus the breakpoints that come from DAP. So you see I remove once breakpoints here. And really the only place I've done this is here, but I also have it in my other debugger. Yeah, I probably should have 2 sets of breakpoints. But for now, what I'll do I just realized I have reset and remove all that do the same thing. It's kind of funny. I'm just going to do 2 sets. I don't know what to call this. Internal. Or maybe I call these breakpoints and these user breakpoints. Something like that. Although this is the one that's mainly represented at breakpoints. And this one is going to be used a lot less, I think. Okay, I'll just call it like this for now. So this is where we use it right now. And where we do check for breakpoints. Now, if this returns true, I like symmetry. All right, something like this. And now I can go clear all my breakpoints for the regular ones from VS Code. So let's do that. Hey, Gigant Fusion. Still amaze me everything that you do. Have you been watching my stream for a while? Is that what you mean? Oh, how's it going, man? I didn't realize that was your alias. How you doing? How are things at Behavior? I guess you're working from home as well, from what I understand. I've been watching your stream every time I can catch you. Cool. You should say hi more often. You're shy. So F5. So now if I remove, okay, if I hit these two, if I hit F5 again, let's put some breakpoints. Okay, while it's running, I'll put a breakpoint right there. Nice. F5, F5, F5. Let's put one over here. Excellent. I usually play games while watching. Yeah, that's fine, man. You could just say hi, but then there's no obligation to like stay and keep talking and stuff. For those watching, I used to work at Behavior, so this guy is my colleague, ex-colleague. And now if I hit F9 to remove this breakpoint, there should actually be only one. Yeah, you can see here in the breakpoints window that it works properly because line 144 disappears and I hit F5 and now I don't hit that one anymore. And if I remove this one, there we go. See? So many hours of programming, and what do I have? A Pong game. See, it's not that impressive. But yeah, so 2 players here. So let's say I go into put a breakpoint here. Sweet. So where are we? We're calling joystick down, and then it calls is tpad down. Okay, and then if I put on the return statement, oh, looks like I found a bug here. It still thinks there's a breakpoint there. Why is that? So I hit F9 here. I do have 1 breakpoint. There's only 1 in this file. Wait, did we just enable the breakpoint? Yeah, okay, we just enabled it. So this should add it. Sure. But then if I try to remove it, oh, that's interesting. Let me put a breakpoint higher up. I try to remove it, we come here. Oh, okay. Yeah, this was stupid of me. Well, I mean, it's not that it was stupid, but I need to do the remove all. So I guess that means I technically should remove all higher up, right? Yes. Yes, that's what it means. I should start off. I remove all breakpoints, and then if something goes wrong, we do this add unverified breakpoint thing. Yeah, this makes sense. The protocol is that every time a breakpoint is added, removed, added or removed, all breakpoints, all enabled breakpoints will be sent again, will be sent in this request. So now, so the bug was basically if I have only 1 breakpoint in a file and I try to remove it, it wasn't clearing my breakpoints internally. Because you see, I was adding it in BIOS here and I had no breakpoints in this file. So that's why where it went wrong. So let's go in here. Hit it a couple of breakpoints, go back into BIOS here, F9, we keep hitting it, take it off, and now it works. I can put one here, that seems to work as well. That's very cool, I'm quite happy with that. Right, because I only have 1 player. And what about disabling? Does that work? So if I put a breakpoint here on line 117 and disable it. Yeah, that seems to work. And if I enable it again, boom. So the disable enable state, I think, is just something for VS Code. But as far as what it sends through DAP, it probably just, just doesn't send it as enabled. That's my guess. We can actually verify that. So let's say I remove. Okay, see, I removed one from BIOS here. So we just got a request. Which file is this? Yeah, so that was the BIOS. So you see I disabled the one breakpoint that was in there, and as far as we're concerned, there are no breakpoints. So that's how that works. So that makes perfect sense. Awesome, very happy with this. Cool, I can see here that isDPAD_down gets called in main at line 120 and then again at line 122. See? Here and then here. So these are the two calls, line 120 and line 122. It's cool that we can actually see that. Okay, so very happy with that. We got breakpoints working. So that was a bit more work than I thought, but this is good foundation for the next couple of changes, which are going to be doing step over and step out. So I'll clean up these changes on breakpoint and probably get those committed. Or maybe I'll do that next time. So normally I'll be streaming on Thursday, a couple of nights from now. So yeah, hope to see you guys then. Yeah, so thanks for watching.